and welcome to the party. You know what time it is. This is Southbound, an NFL podcast where two depressed Saints fans, and as I said last episode, not quite as depressed these days as they started the season, or as we started the season, talk about the NFC South, the NFC, and the NFL at large. We are now down to two teams, so we have a lot to talk about. Oddly enough, most of what we're going to talk about is not the game itself. So before we get into our news and notes, my name is Matt.
I'm the Quacker.
Quacker, what is your prognosis for winter weather over the next 48 hours?
That is a great question. I think it's supposed to get cold again, like really cold again this weekend for us. I think Saturday the high is 32.
Okay.
It looks like the low is around. Yeah. Oh, I love it. My back doesn't load as much as it used to.
That's called getting old. Something
it is. I've got a degenerative disc in my lower back, and I remember a couple of years ago, like opening weekend for college baseball. Me and some friends that went to a game, and it was freezing. I mean, like absolutely freezing. Yeah. And I was wearing this jacket, brand new jacket. It's really good. You look at it, you would think that's something to keep you warm. The jacket is actually a very warm jacket, but like I didn't have anything else that was like warm. So by the time the game was over, my back was hurting so bad. Like, and I don't have heated seats in my truck, so I just had to get in there, turn the heat all the way up, and just sit there because I couldn't drive until like my back loosened up. But
if you really want, if you want to trade old man stories. So I have really bad carpal tunnel in my left wrist and hand. So it was so bad that, and I didn't even know this until recently, but this is called like the thenar eminence, which is all of these, which by the way is the coolest muscle group name in the body, I'm convinced. But all these muscles right here. So I had this roll on, almost like deodorant, icy hot, and I rubbed it on my hand. And I forgot that I did that, and then I rubbed my eye. So man. I was driving to work like this, trying to get it out. So yeah, that's the stage of life we're in. So anyway, but all right. So I ask you that because we are supposed to get buried in snow, and apparently it's supposed to be dry snow like Colorado snow. So
nice.
If there were mountains where there are a lot of mountains in the state which I reside, which is South Carolina. There are 0 mountains in the area of South Carolina I'm in. But I've been told this is perfect sledding weather, the worst driving weather you could possibly imagine. So might be snowed in for a few days. But I'm pretty pumped because you and I kind of lived in the same sandbox in that, like, you know, I grew up in North Florida. You grew up in South Central Mississippi. Well, I guess Southwest Central Mississippi. Not a lot of difference in terms of, you know, how far north you were compared to me. But normally it just gets really cold. We get some wintry mix. You might get some snowflakes that don't stick. If you're lucky, you get what we got last year, which was like ice snow, basically. Dude, but this year we're getting Narnia, and I'm freaking pumped because it's the first time anywhere that I've lived is getting legitimate snow. No one cares about that, so I'm going to back off that. Hope you guys are safe. Hope nobody loses power. Let's get started on news and notes. Quacker?
All right, yeah, so the Chargers are hiring, or have hired, Western Michigan's Chris O'Leary as their next defensive coordinator. He will replace Jesse Minter, who left this past week to become, or I guess last week, to become Baltimore Ravens' next head coach. So we've had a few head coach fillings over the last couple weeks here.
We're going to have to talk about one in particular, but I'm going to wait till you get to it. So,
Yeah.
And you already know which one it is, so there's no drama involved.
Jets hired a new defensive coordinator. But they still expect they hired Brian Duker as defensive coordinator. They expect Aaron Glenn to still call the plays, which to me that doesn't make a lot of sense. Once you become a head coach, kind of hand it over. There are a couple coaches that can do it, but
it's very Billy Napier of him.
I mean, you still see like Sean Payton calling plays, but he's kind of a unicorn.
Sean Payton has a proven long-term track record of being able to back that up with success.
Yeah.
And yeah. I think generally speaking, that's a dying breed. Now, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, I think Brian Schottenheimer called plays for Dallas this year, and Dallas's offense was not Dallas's issue,
Yeah.
Now, I could be wrong. He might have not called plays, but I definitely think you can do it, right? I think it's kind of like what you were kind of implying. It's not they're people that can do that do not grow on trees, right? So,
I mean, you had two of the greatest defensive coaches of all time, one at the college level, one at the pro level, who once they became head coaches never called another play in their career, with Belichick and Saban. It's funny, those two were best friends, and they're both considered some of the greatest coaches of all time. And once they got head coaching positions, they didn't call plays.
Yeah,
they hired somebody else to do the job. They coached the coaches,
but
they didn't.
So let's, because this is going to be on our docket already. So let skip down in your list to Belichick being snubbed, and let's because I feel like there's a side conversation from what you just said that I think we should talk about. So let's go ahead and talk about that piece of news.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'll let you read it out for those who are unaware.
So Bill Belichick is being snubbed as a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he was 10 votes short of the required. I think he had 40, and I think you have to have 50 votes to be elected to the Hall of Fame.
It's something, something like that.
Yeah, and I've heard a few different things. Like Bill Polian is supposedly behind some of this. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've heard Robert Kraft.
You heard Robert Kraft? I
have.
wouldn't have.
ESPN reported that maybe there was some speculation that Robert Kraft was involved.
I have not heard that. But I've heard Polian's name come up. My first thought was writers who were just trying to teach him a lesson, right? Because they didn't like the way he treated the media. But I mean, regardless of that, I mean, the dude has won 8 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach, 2 as the defensive coordinator. He's been to, what did they lose? 4 Super Bowls during his time there. Lost 2 to the Giants, 1 to the Eagles. So 3 Super Bowls. So he's been to a bunch of them. What was he like? Just a few wins short of being the all-time winningest coach in the history of the NFL. I mean, there's no way he doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And honestly, a unanimous selection. So it's disappointing to see him being snubbed. This first go around. Well, we know he'll eventually get in, but at the same time, it's a disappointment to see.
So, all right, hold on. I was looking up one stat. Okay. So, I have a different take on this than everyone in the media. And from what you just said, Quacker. Here's my deal. Belichick was a middling head coach before he took the New England job. He was a middling head coach until Tom Brady took over via injury. And he became a middling head coach when Tom Brady left and won a Super Bowl at a different place. Do I think, as a Saints fan, I want to qualify this, that Drew Brees or Sean Payton would have the clout and the stats they have without one another? No, I do not. I don't. So I want to clarify that. But I think that Tom Brady proved very quickly which part was more important in this ingredient. Do I think that Belichick and Brady made a good team? I do. Do I think that Belichick is one of the greatest head coaches of all time? I don't. Do I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer? I don't. Do I think that this is a political in nature, like you were talking about? Yes, I do. But I think the fact remains, I don't think he's a top 10 or even maybe a top 20 coach of all time. Yes, he has 6 Super Bowl wins. All right. Well, 8 if you count his non-head coaching rings. But the thing is, though, Tom Brady proved pretty much unequivocally once he went to Tampa Bay went from irrelevant to good when the Saints were still ruling that division, by the way, and had a lead in the NFC Championship game at home and lost the game to Tom Brady and the formerly irrelevant Bucs. Belichick picks up Cam Newton, does nothing with him. Do I think Belichick's a terrible coach? Absolutely not. But I don't wholly disagree with this. And I know that's a hot take, but that's where I'm at on it.
I mean, everybody's got their opinions, and everybody's entitled to their opinions. I mean, yeah, I do think he's a better coach than. Well, no, I do think he's a better coach than what you're giving him credit for. I mean, I think he's a much better coach than the GM.
Brady, right, but if you take Tom Brady out of the equation, what has Bill Belichick done in any of his coaching endeavors? And I mean that, like, if you can give me an honest answer, I'll take it. But didn't we talk about a few weeks ago, didn't they miss the playoffs the year that Matt Castle was the quarterback? And I know he played.
Yeah, but they had like an 11-5 record. I mean, that was
right.
And that was, to me, I was actually going to bring that up. To me, that was probably his best coaching job because Brady blows his knee out in the first half of the first game of that season, and they still won 11 games that year.
But if his best coaching job is an 11-5 season without your greatest of all time, literally greatest of all time, I think that right now in the sport of football, you and I and everyone else who's any sort of pundit would unanimously agree, right, that there are 2 greatest of all times that no one's going to ever argue with, and that is Tom Brady and Nick Saban, right? Like, nobody's going to give any pushback on that?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. But you and I are in lockstep on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying his greatest coaching job is an 11-5 season with a career backup, who is also it is worth noting for Belichick in Belichick's favor that Matt Castle was also a backup in college to Matt Leinart. So that is something. That's not nothing. Okay. I do not think Belichick is a terrible coach. I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. Do I think he's the greatest of all time? Not even in the conversation. Do I think he is first ballot Hall of Famer? Maybe, maybe not. I think I'm okay with it though. And I'm okay with it because of what happened before Tom Brady got to Belichick and what happened after Tom Brady left Belichick. So to me, that's like it is like the proof is all around us, But I don't know. I know that's an unpopular opinion, and most people don't share it, and that's fine. I'm not gonna just like bark at everyone that they're wrong. But to me, it seems like it's a very simple, calculus.
I was trying to pull up. I got it here. So after Brady left, they made the playoffs in 2021, which was the first season that Mac Jones was there. And of course they missed him the last couple of years that Bill was there. But I don't know if it was because Josh McDaniels left and they brought in a different offensive coordinator. Like what was going on with Mac Jones? Like his progression dramatically fell off after McDaniels left that time. And
okay, but does not that tell you what you need to know? Because who is McDaniels coaching right now?
He's coaching the Drake May.
What game is Drake May about to play in?
Well, I know that, but also I know
that's my point. Is I'm not trying to disparage Belichick, but I think his legacy gets really overblown by the people he's had around him.
Well, this means he's made good coaching hires, but
it's not just coaching; it's also player. And in the NFL, you don't just get to just carte blanche pick your players. You got to kind of luck into them. You got to be in the right spot to pick up the player. You got to be able to re-sign them. You got to have the money. Look, I'm not saying you're wrong because I think your opinion is the vast majority of people. I just tend to disagree. But I don't disagree in such a way that I think Bill Belichick is an awful coach. I think he's Hall of Fame caliber. I think he is top 25 of all time. Where I draw the line is I don't think he's a GOAT. I don't think he sniffs the top 10. I would put Mike Tomlin. I would put what's his name? Cowher. I would put Sean Payton. I would put the Tuna. I would put Rex Ryan. I'd put all those guys in front of Belichick in terms of being
Ryan.
Yes, absolutely. Rex Ryan took Mark Sanchez to the AFC Championship like either 2 or 3 years in a row.
They went 2 years in a row, but that was really good defenses that led that. So
it doesn't matter what took him there. He took a terrible, inferior team to the penultimate game. So yeah, I would put Rex Ryan in front of Bill Belichick. Absolutely, I wouldn't hesitate to do it. I would put Sean McVay in front of him. I would put what's his name in San Francisco in front of him. I'd put the guy from Sirianni from Philadelphia. There's a lot of guys currently coaching that I would put in front of Belichick. That's why I feel like I'm so firm on this. Yes, he has 6 rings, but he has 6 rings with the greatest quarterback we've ever seen do it, who, by the way, has rings without him, which is something Belichick cannot say, unless you're talking about him as a coordinator, not as a head coach. So, but I can see that's the hot take, and I'm in the minority, and I'm okay with that. But that's where I live on that. So,
okay,
all right. So what's next? I wanted to move to that because I felt like that was a worthy conversation. But what else do we have in the land of news and notes?
If I get this pulled back up here, the Broncos fired Joe Lombardi as defensive coordinator after their loss in the Snowmageddon which was the AFC Championship game.
It was Snowmageddon when it started, but it
no, it wasn't.
Sure,
And that's what made it Snowmageddon. Yeah. I work with a guy who's from Boston. Like he lived there. He's been in Mississippi for the last 30 years, but
well, that game was in Denver though.
It was, but we were talking about because they had, apparently I didn't see this, but they had compared Foxborough and whatever the Mile High Stadium is called now. I don't remember who their sponsor is. But,
is it not Mile High?
No, they got a different name for it now.
That's stupid.
Yeah, but they were showing, and Foxborough was buried in snow, and the guy I worked with said it was falling 3 inches per hour, there in Foxborough, in Boston, which is a lot. He said there was 2 feet of snow inside the stadium, but I would guess at the rate that field was filling up with snow, that it was probably falling about the same rate there in Denver when it started. Because you went from, even after halftime, that field was still clear, to by the end of the third quarter, it was accumulating pretty fast. And by the end of the game, like they had even quit by halfway through the fourth quarter, trying to superimpose the yard markers and stuff over the field, because they were doing it for a while, and they just gave up because they're like, we don't know. So, I mean, Sean Payton can hire and fire who he wants to. I think that's a knee-jerk reaction there. But their defense was phenomenal this year. So this is a move I don't really. Oh wait, it's offensive coordinator. Never mind. I misread. I thought
I wasn't gonna correct you because I'm infamously bad at a lot of stuff like that, but I thought that might have been the case.
Yeah, I when I was saying that, I was like, Lombardi. That sounds like the guy that was with the Saints at the OC, but that makes more sense. But I still would have not had that reaction. I mean, I know things didn't go that way, but I mean, they got a backup quarterback playing for the first time in 2 years, and he started out playing okay, but you could tell that the weather was starting to affect the way they were throwing the ball and stuff, and it's not like the Patriots had a bad defense that they lost against. So, and Peyton's one that calls the plays, so I guess he had to put the blame on somebody.
Okay, but I'm so glad in the wake of this conversation you brought up Sean Payton, because Sean Payton had 1 week to prepare for Bo Nix's starter being out. And took Jared Stidham, and you and I have talked about this off air. If you're in the NFL, you're a good quarterback. Like, we talk about them relatively, like, oh, so-and-so's trash, so-and-so can't do this. But if you put them on a field with, like, an average human, they're going to be amazing, right? So,
yeah.
But they take Jared Stidham, and they almost win the game. They have a legitimate chance to win the game. That is, to me, a defining characteristic of a Hall of Fame coach. Not to rehash it, and I'm not trying to rehash it. I'm just saying, when have we ever seen Belichick do that? And that's hypothetical, or that's a rhetorical. I'm like I said, I'm not trying to get you to answer it. That's where my head is at. Like, Sean Payton does that. I don't know if I've ever seen Belichick do anything like that. But anyway, all right. So what's next on the docket?
Good news for the Broncos. It looks like Nick's injury is not a concern. He'll return within a couple months, 4 to 6 weeks is kind of the timeline there.
AFC Championship.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, but his offseason won't be affected that much.
Right.
So him and his wife can go enjoy Cancun.
Yeah.
And
good news long term.
Yeah. Buffalo Bills. This is a cool story here. They promote Joe Brady to head coach, give him a 5-year deal, and I've been a fan of Brady for a while. It's cool to see him promoted to head coach. I guess they really like him, like how he coaches um, Josh Allen there. Is he ready to be head coach? We'll see. He's not going to step into a bad situation there, but it's going to be a pressure packed situation because McDermott got fired for not getting to the Super Bowl. Even though he got to a couple of AFC Championship games, they couldn't make that last step.
Well, I don't even think it's not making it. I think it's not winning it because obviously, the Bills fans still remember Jim Kelly. 3 AFC Championship or 3 Super Bowls in a row without a win. Right?
4.
So, 4. I thought it was 3. So, here's my thing: does Joe Brady has he earned the stripes to be a head coach? Yes. Do I feel like in a vacuum Joe Brady is a good hire for an NFL team as a head coach? Yes. Here's what I don't get. You get rid of McDermott, but you keep the GM, who McDermott, all reports suggest that McDermott and the GM were tight. You keep the OC and elevate him to head coach. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're keeping the core of your offense. Do we feel like, and this is hypothetical because obviously you and I don't really know this, but do we feel like McDermott was really the issue? Or is he just the scapegoat? And that's where I get nervous because do I feel like Joe Brady is going to be a good head coach? Yes. Listen, full disclosure, my college team was looking for a head coach this offseason, and one of the names that I wanted them to interview was Joe Brady. So I think Joe Brady has earned his stripes. I think he's ready to be a head coach, college or pro. That's not my question. But my question is, if you're going to keep your entire infrastructure but just get rid of one guy, is that because you're confident he's the issue or you're seeing ghosts from 40 years ago and you need a scapegoat? And I don't know the answer to that, but that's where I get a little bit nervous,
To me, it felt like it was a scapegoat move by the Bills ownership.
I hope it's not, because I like Brady and I hope he does well, and I know you like him too, But, dude, as a Saints fan, like, I'm really happy with what I saw from Kellen Moore. If we were in a coaching search situation, I'd be like, please go hire McDermott. Like,
right.
Interview the people you have to interview for DEI or whatever, and then just go hire McDermott. Like, and I don't mean that racially. I just mean, like, he's a great head coach. I would love to have him.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I worry about for Joe Brady. It's not that do I think he's competent or capable or has earned it. I think he'll be a great head coach. I'm concerned that maybe they looked for, like you said, a scapegoat rather than what is the actual issue. So,
yeah.
We'll see. Now it could be, look, you and I are not privy to conversations. It could be that McDermott was the actual issue. And if he was, then they made the right move. But we won't know that until we see the Bills, take the field in 2026. So.
Mm-hmm. And the last little bit of news we have here is this is for me. This is a cool move here. Browns hire, it says ex-Ravens, but I'm going to say former Southern Miss head coach Todd Monken as their new head coach. For those who don't remember, he was head coach for 3 years at Southern. He left after finally having a winning season, went to Tampa to be offensive coordinator. Then he went to Georgia for a few years, won a couple natties there, if I remember right. And then went to the Ravens for the last few years. So he gets his shot now to be the man. So
yeah, that's cool.
We'll see what he can do there with a mess in the quarterback room with Shador, Watson, and Gabriel. That's a room full right there already. So good luck. And it's not like the Browns are a well-oiled, well-run organization. I hope he can go in there and turn them around. I mean, they have some good pieces there, but outside of what was it? The last time they were in the playoffs was when Baker was still quarterback for him.
Was it?
I think so.
Might have been. All right. So look, we're gonna jump into our final segment here, and we are gonna talk about the big game for 5 minutes. And I'm working on a special guest here. We're gonna see if this happens. But first of all, what a weird game, right? So, somebody sent me a picture of it was Sam Darnold and Drake May. So I sent it to one of my good buddies, and he just sent the barf emoji. Because my what I said was so weird, like the weirdest thing, right? So I'm not going to bury the lead, and I already talked about this earlier. I believe that the Seahawks are a far better team and will win the game, but they have a far less talented quarterback or promising quarterback, which is super, super weird. So all right. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Hold on 1 second. Quacker doesn't even know I'm doing this. All right, look at this. We've got one of my coworkers and my buddies. This is Graham Hucks. Graham, give us your quick thoughts on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be much of a game. I think it's going to be the Seahawks taking it all. Unfortunately,
6 defensive touchdowns.
That's the way
right?
I see it going. What's that?
I said 6 defensive touchdowns, right?
If they get 6 defensive touchdowns, I'll buy dinner at your choice of place.
Oh, all right. You heard that, right?
So I feel like that's
live.
a fairly safe bet.
Okay.
But if it's that exciting of a game, that's well worth the payment.
Okay.
On the flip side, I would love to see Drake May succeed, but I just don't think this is the year.
Well, and I don't know if you heard this. My take is that Drake May is a much, much better quarterback, right? But the Seahawks are just a better team, and I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So Quacker, you weigh in real quick. So you've heard me. You've heard Graham.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you land on this?
It's hard to say, but because of the Seahawks defense right now, this is the closest we've seen. And you said that they have a name. I never heard it the other day. But the closest I've seen to the Legion of Boom since that broke up. This has a feel kind of like the last time
Graham
they met
was
the Super Bowl.
9 when the Legion of Boom was a thing. I'm just joking. He was 9. But.
Wow.
Probably closer than you want to know.
But this does kind of have the feeling of kind of that game, from years ago when it was Brady at the quarterback. I mean, you knew that he was a much more experienced quarterback, and probably a better quarterback than Russell Wilson. I mean, not probably. He was definitely a better quarterback.
Yeah, I was gonna say not probably.
But he also had. It felt like he had less tools to work with. I mean, you had Gronk and Jules, Julian Edelman, and then after that, you kind of like, who does he have on offense?
Okay, but isn't that like saying, hey, can I borrow $20? Look, I've got a $500 bill and a $100 bill. Which one works best? You know what I mean? It's like I get what you're saying, but when you're talking about, okay, you have Brady at the helm, and then your tools are Gronk and Edelman, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, that's 2 guys instead of the 5 or 6 that they have on covering them. So if you eliminate half the field, so, but I feel like the receivers for the Patriots are much better than what they've had in recent years. I mean, they got Kayshon Boutte, they got Stephon Diggs, on the outsides, and Boutte, like really kind of coming into his own, especially in this playoffs. I mean, we've seen him stepping up really, really big here in the last few weeks, and they have a solid running game. I think it's gonna be a very close game. I think it's a lot closer than maybe what some people are thinking. I won't be surprised if the Patriots win, but I do think that the Seahawks are probably the heavy favorites going in.
Okay, so real quick before we'll get Graham's prediction in just a second. Give me a score and I mean, obviously I think we're all on Seahawks, but give me a score.
I'd say 20, 27, 27, 21 Seahawks.
Okay. Graham?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a good number of field goals. I don't know why. Just feel like it's a field goal year.
Field
So I
goal
feel like it's going to
palooza.
be a nice 24-16, a weird 8-point game, but few field goals for the Patriots. So
Okay. I'm going to go 34-9.
Wow.
Well, I think it's going to be a game of attrition. I don't feel like the Seahawks are just going to blow them away, but I feel like they're kind of like the Oregon Texas Tech game that we watched. You know, it's like wasn't that Oregon blew Texas Tech out of the water, but they just slowly kept tacking on points, you know, here and there. All right, so we're all taking the Seahawks to win the game. That's exciting. Graham, thank you for joining us last minute. I didn't even tell him I was going to invite him. I just sent him the link and he joined, so kudos to him. And I didn't tell Quacker either.
yeah, I don't even know who the Seahawks are, so I'm a little lost right now. But
Right. Okay. All right, so final question. All right. I need Quacker, you're going to go first. On a scale of 1 to 10, how critical is the volume and quality of Trevor Lawrence's hair to his playing ability? 1 to 10.
I'd go 1.
Okay.
I mean,
Graham?
he's not Samson, so
yeah, I was thinking the same Samson comparison, and I'm actually on the other side. I'm a little bit higher, 9, 8, 9, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think I'm 9.5.
Unfortunately,
so I'm
if
with
it's
you on
gone,
that. Yeah. No, I agree. I think if he loses his hair, that's it. But
Yeah.
all right, hey, we've totally gone off the rails. Listen, this has been Southbound. We're gonna hit you back after the Super Bowl. Graham Hux, thank you for being our surprise special guest that not even Quacker knew was gonna join. Not even you knew who was gonna join.
Yeah, real surprise.
Yeah, right. All right. Look, we're excited about this. That is not this Sunday. Oh, by the way, we forgot to mention this. Shador Sanders made the Pro Bowl. Go complain to the NFL, not me. Don't know why that happened, but it's a thing that's
fan
real.
vote.
What's that?
Fan vote.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what it was.
Well, have you seen his dodgeball highlights? I think that really is what pushed him over the edge for a lot of people.
Was it his dodgeball highlights or was it the movie Dodgeball?
I could be getting the two confused.
Have you seen
but
Dodgeball?
something along those lines. I don't think you want me to answer that question.
The answer is no. All right. Hey, we are Southbound, an NFL podcast. We're two depressed Saints fans and a Clemson Plus fan. Join the podcast to talk about the NFL. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy All-Star Weekend and the Super Bowl next weekend. We'll see you next time.